The importance of dialogue in our lives. The meaning of dialogue. Dialogue defines language as a discussion or conversation that takes place between two or more people. It is defined by a term, a conversation between two groups on a specific topic. Each has a point of view, with the aim of reaching the truth or to the greatest possible convergence of views, away from antagonism or intolerance, in a way that depends on science and reason, with both parties willing to accept the truth even if it appears by the other. The human need for dialogue. God has made man able to communicate since birth, so as to be able to secure his biological and psychological needs together. He begins to communicate visually with those around him. Then the smile is formed as a sign of his interaction and communication with the surrounding society. Then words come up to be the basic key to the formation of relationships between people. And this is what distinguishes man from the rest of the living things. The importance of dialogue in personal and practical life. Dialogue is one of the most important things that distinguishes human beings from other creatures, and is an advantage not only for itself but for the purposes of creating human beings on this earth. Building societies. Through effective dialogue, community members share, evaluate and rebuild ideas and information, thereby contributing to the development of society and individuals. Building societies. Through effective dialogue, community members share, evaluate and rebuild ideas and information, thereby contributing to the development of society and individuals. Dialogue is an effective way of communicating with members of the same family. When parents are good interlocutors with their children, they have the opportunity to learn about the positive and negative aspects of themselves and their children, and they can thus contribute to changing and modifying them. As family dialogue is very necessary to form an ideal family. Justice can only be achieved by listening, and discussing any issue or problem that is common to them. The absence of an effective dialogue means an incomplete truth and distorted justice. The exchange of information, cultures, and experiences among people. Experiences can only be learned and shared through dialogue, which reflects positively on the advancement and progress of societies. The importance of dialogue in family life. Dr. John Gray recommends avoiding arguments between spouses, because arguments destroy the emotional life between them. The controversy usually turns into a discussion and then heats up into an argument that negatively affects the psychology of both parties, and only hurts each other's feelings. In return, it offers another way to resolve differences between spouses based on mutual dialogue. Instead of arguing and hurting feelings, both parties should clarify what they want and express their feelings quietly. The usefulness of dialogue, in this case, is to understand the reality of the feelings on which disagreement is based, and then to understand and accept them, and to try to reach a common solution. Dr. John Gray argues that there are behaviors that destroy the possibility of dialogue that should be avoided, such as starting to fight and retaliate, or withdrawing from controversy, which is useless to inherit scars. Richard Carlson points out that it is essential to overcome the problems between spouses, dialogue, and listening to the other party, and states that women in particular need to be listened to by their husbands, without establishing barriers between the parties or directing hasty judgments, but rather dialogue based on listening and listening to the other party. The importance of dialogue to the mind. First, dialogue opens up perceptions on the different ways leading to the truth. The path to truth is not one, but there are several ways, and if man confines himself to his thoughts, he will deprive himself of other ways that lead to truth, which refer to man through dialogue with others, and the exchange of knowledge and ideas. Second, dialogue exacerbates the difference between ideas, as the exchange of ideas and dialogue narrows the gap between the two different parties, and may even develop into the adoption of the ideas of the other, and use them as new evidence for new ideas, and as the thinker, Taha Abdel Rahman says, if disagreement is a disease, dialogue is medicine. Third, dialogue contributes to deepening the ideas and perceptions of the individual. Key elements of effective dialogue. The dialogue can be negative and fail if it is based on one-sided ideas and things, with disrespect for the other party, and the use of bad words and harsh physical expressions. There must be several elements for the dialogue to be positive, effective, and constructive. It is as follows. 1. Respect for the other. 2. Find out the main reason for communicating with the other. 3. Visual communication with the other. 4. Provide a good time for effective listening. 5. Enter humor and fun during the dialogue.